Okay, as they say, a guten Zummer, everyone. I always felt that this is a very important shir, because here we had Kabbalah Satira, and instead of going and running out and getting pizza or whatever, we come and we learn. We really show that we're putting our commitments and putting our money where our mouth is. It's really a good thing. We are sponsored in our tour through this Masechta by A.B. Spry, who is sponsoring it L'Fu Shalema for Toiba Reiza Bas Hinda, and for great zivugim for their daughter and grandchildren. We are also sponsored by Shali Zeitlin, L'Fu Shalema for Moshe Meir ben Esther Fadel, and Shimon ben Sarah Miriam, and also for Lichtig Leben for his wonderful children, Eli, Orit, and Ora. We're also sponsored anonymously for the spiritual, emotional, and physical protection for Yoshua Menachem Mendel ben Bela Shendel Rivka. We begin. We have our work cut out for us. Well, we want to get some money's worth tonight, which is very big schar for learning right after Yom Tov, after a long Yom Tov. And we start by the new Mishnah on Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. New Mishnah on Lamed Aleph Amud Beis. Shavuos Ha'edus Ketzad. What's the case where a person brings a carbon for a oath denying that he knows testimony? Amal Ishnayim, if I tell to Yitz and Menachem, I tell them, Bo v'hiduni, come and testify on my behalf. And they say, Shvua she'in adam yoidim l'cha edus, and they swear that they don't know testimony. Or, Oisha amrulai, or they say to me, Menachem and Yitz say to me, I say, I put you to an oath. V'amru amen, and they say amen, and we'll learn that this takes place in court. Then they're chayiv to bring a carbon. If I put them to 5 oaths outside of Bezdin, and then they come to Bezdin v'hoidu, and they admit that they know the testimony, Peturin. Because remember, you only chayiv outside of court, inside of court. Kafru, if they deny it and they swore 5 times, so if they deny it and they swore 5 times, then they're chayiv 5 karbanas. Chayav al kol achas v'achas. They're chayiv for each and every shvua. However, if I put them to an oath 5 times in court, the kafru, and they deny it, einon chayavan ela achas. They're only chayav 1 carbon. You see, because once they deny it once, since they're in court, that's a testimony, and they can't change their testimony because kevan shehigat shuv eina chayzer umagid. So there's no purpose in a further shvua. And Amrab Shimon Matam, what's the difference if they made 5 shvuos outside of court or 5 in court? Because once they deny it in court, that's the end of the story. That's their testimony. They can't admit afterwards anyway, because they can't change their story. Now, remember, it has to be a testimony that would make Shelley pay me. So kafru shneyan ke'echad, if Yitz and Menachem deny together, so both of them, if they would have given testimony, it would have been something that could have gotten me my money. So it's testimony about money, chayavin. B'zeh chazeh, but if Yitzi denies it and then Menachem denies it, harish and chayv. Yitzi is chayv because at that time there were 2 witnesses. But Vasheni Pater, but once Yitz denied it, so now you don't have 2 witnesses. So when Menachem denied it, it wasn't something that could be Moitzi Mammon, and therefore Potter. Kafar echad v'hoida echad. If Yitzi denies it and Menachem admits it, HaKofer Chayiv. Yitzi is Chayiv. Now let's say are you shtei kitei Eidim. Let's say there's two groups of Eidim. There's Yitzi and Menachem, and there's Abi and Dr. Black. Kafar Rishayna, if Yitzi and Menachem deny it, v'aka Kafar Ashniya, and then Abi and Dr. Black deny it, Shtei and Chayavas, they're both Chayiv. Because even though Yitzi and Menachem deny it, still Abi and Dr. Black could have been Moitzi Mammon. The testimony could have been upheld with either one of them. Now, we're going to see the premise of the next Gemara is the only time they're Chayiv Shvuah, the Chayiv for the Shvuah, is if I ask them to testify for me. Amar Shmuel, Ru'u sheratz achrehen. If they saw that I was running after them. Amru Loi, so Yitz and Menachem say, Ma toratz achreinu. Why are you running after us? Shvuah she'eina niyoidin l'cha edus. We don't know anything. Peturid. Why? Because I didn't demand that they should swear. Achi yishmu mepiv. They're only chayiv if they heard it from my mouth when I asked them. Says Gemara, my kamash malon. What's the chiddush tanina? We already learned that in the Mishnah. Shilach b'yad avdai. If I summon them to swear through the agent of my slave. Or Shelley says, Shelley's an honest guy, tells them, if you know I owed money, come and swear. It has to come from the claimant. They're only going to be chayiv if it comes from the claimant. Until sheyishmo mepiyat teveya. So we already learned it has to come from the claimant. If I'm chasing them and they just swore, nothing came for me, so what's the chiddush? Of course it's pater. Says the Gemara, top line of Lamed Beis Amud Aleph, Ratz achrein it's trichalei. The chiddush is where I was running after them. You see, where I was running after them, so kedai tachamina, I might think, came under Ratz achrein, when I ran after them, Commander Amaluhu Dami. It's as if I asked them to say it, Kamash Malon. Says Gemara, but V'honami Tanina. We already learned that too. Shvuah Se'edus Ketzat. Amala Eidim Bo V'hiduni Shvuah. If I say to the witnesses, come and testify for me, and they swear, Amar in, so it says clearly I have to say it. Loy Amar Loy, not just a deduction because I'm chasing them. Says well, it could be Amar Lav Dafka. It could be that saying to them is not needed. The din is, if let's say Shelley has a deposit of mine, what's an example of an oath of a deposit? If I say to Shelley, give me the watch that I left by you. Is it only where I say, give it to me? It says if he denies his friend, and we learn from there that even if Shelley just says, I swear I don't have your watch, he's already going to be chayiv. Ella Amar Lav Dafka. So you see over there the Amar that I initiated is Lav Dafka. Chanami maybe Lav Dafka. It's not that I have to initiate it. I have to make the claim. Says, well, not so fast. Over here by Shavuos Daf, I have to initiate. So Tana Hasam Atacha. I did that. It says Amar over here. It says Amar by Pikad. Here also I don't have to initiate the claim. Then why does it say Amar Amar Lamali Lemisnai? It says, that's not a kasha. It's just telling you the usual events. The usual events is where I make a claim. Now the Gemara now brings a raya to Shmuel. Tanya Kavase to Shmuel. Ru'uhu sheba achrein. If Yitzhak and Menachem see that I'm running after them, Amru Loi, so they say to me, Ma tabo achreinu. Why are you chasing us? Shvuah she'ein adu yodim l'chaydas. We don't know any testimony, Peturim. In that case, since it didn't come from the claimant, it's Pater. But being bibikadan, but if it's by a deposit chayovim, if I'm chasing Shelley and he swears, listen, I don't know why you're chasing me, I don't have your watch, there he would be chayiv. Now, just getting underway on a beautiful Matzah Yom Tov, but I think it's time to welcome in everybody as we welcome in Aaron Swade. Aaron, it's great to have you. I hope after this Kabbalah's Yom Tov of Shavuos we'll see more often. You should be healthy that we should see you. Ben Zion Cohn, Yaakov Warman, Michal, Irving Fishbaum, Shelley Zeitlin, Mo Kushner, A.B. Spry, Dr. Black, Yitzi Fuchs, Menachem Umansky, Shimon Deer, Rabbi Kranz, Bel Zachter, Nachman Chapler, Yitzi Muller, Rabbi Kneel, Moshe Lehman, Stephen Holtzman, Ilya Shutman. And Ilya, we welcome you back. And Ilya, Hashem should give you all the strength that you need in this very hard time. Chaim Braun, Abe Arbach, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, David Helfgott. Here in Shul we have Michal Avram Chavin and Ruvain Shannon. Just getting underway, Hishbia Leyen Chamisha Pa'amim. If I put to oath Yitzhak Menachem 5 times, so the Gemara says that if they deny outside of court, they're not chayiv. It's only if they deny in court. So the Gemara asks me, Nolon da kfiro de bezdin hu de mechayve. How do you know that they're mechayev for denial in bezdin? Achutz le bezdin loy mechayve. They're not chayiv for a denial outside of bezdin. How do we know that? So Amar Abaye, says, Amar Kroim lo yagid v'nasa avaynai. If they don't relate, they bear the sin. And it's talking about a place where if there would be a Haggadah, if there would be a testimony, they would be Maitzi Mammon. Lo yamarti lach ela b'makom she'ilu magid zeh, where Yitzi at Menachem would give testimony, mischayiv zeh Mammon, then Shelley would have to pay. Says Gemara, Leira Papal Abayi Hachi Ema Shvua Gufa Bebezdin in Mishalai Bebezdin like. Maybe not just the denial has to be in Bezdin, but also the oath also has to be. But we learned in the Mishnah that if they swear outside of Bezdin, then if they deny it in Bezdin, they're chayiv. So we see that the shvua could be outside of Bezdin. Says the Gemara Lo Yisol Kedaitach. The Tanya La'achas. Now La'achas tells you L'chayiv al kol achas va'achas, to be mechayiv on every shvua. Now, if it's in Bezdin, you're not chayiv on every shvua, because once you make one shvua, you can't change your story anymore. Kevin she'eged shuvei nechayzer magid. V'isal gedaytel bebezdin mi mechayiv al kol achas va'achas v'tanan hishbi aleim chamisha apamim bifnei Bezdin, in front of the court v'kafru, and they deny it, ain't chayovin ala achas. And Amar of Shimon Matam, they can't change their story. So it's only one shmua that has significance. Elav shmami na, where is it that you chayiv in each and every one? Shvua chutz lebezdin, the shvua could be outside of Bezdin, and kfira bebezdin, the denial is in Bezdin. Kafru shnein ke'achas chayovim. And we welcome in Barry Cement, and we are holding by the first wide line on Lamed Beis Amud Aleph. And again, I reiterate, what is special zechus? It's a long Yom Tov. We ate a lot, and many learned a lot. It's easy to say, I'm going to now start and learn till late in the night. Binech Meshuga. So the answer is that we are Meshuga in Torah. That's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be Meshuga in Torah. And bravo to all of you.
In my case, it's just more than Torah, right?
100%.
Okay, I just want to clear that up.
Yeah, Haidas Baldin Kamei Edim Dami.
I apologize.
Kafru Shneim Ke'achas Chayav. If both Yitz and Menachem deny at the same time, they're chayiv. It has to be at the same time, because if Yitz denies, then when Menachem denies, you don't have two witnesses anymore. So it's not something that could be Maitzi Mammon. But if they both deny at the same time, chayav. Says, well, how could you have it at the same time? You can't have something exactly at the same time. Rav Chisda, Amani Rabbi Yosef Glili. Here is going according to Rabbi Yosef Glili. You can have them both at the same time. Rabbi Yochanan says it doesn't have to be at the same time. Afilu Teimer Rabbanan, that we can't do something at the same time. But Kigain Shekafru Shneim B'Seikidei Diver. It means that the two of them denied it within Teikidei Diver, within the time that you say Shalom Alecha Rebbe. And that's like the same time. Now at this point the Gemara thought that they were able to say the whole denial in the time that it takes to say Shalom Alecha Rebbe. Now that, says the Gemara, is impossible. 3 words, Shalom Alecha Rabbi. But the denial of the testimony is we swear that we don't know for you edus. That can't be said in the time of 3 words. Tuvahave. Amalesa, he says, no, it means that first Yit said, I swear, and then within the time of Shalom Alecha Rabbi, Menachem said he swears. And that's enough. But if first Yit swore and then Menachem swore, Harishan Chayiv, Yitz is Chayiv, Hasheni Pata, because Menachem didn't swear about something that would be Maitzi Mammon. Now, Menachem's testimony would be Chayiv a Shvua, because if it's one aid, it's Mechayiv a Shvua, but a Shvua is not Hoitzas Mammon. However, the Gemara thinks that our Mishnah is not like Rebbe Eliezer. Masnis in the Loikai Tanya, the Tanya Mashbia Eid Echad, if you put an oath, one witness, Potter. Rebbe Eliezer, Reb Shimon Mechayiv. So Rebbe Eliezer, Reb Shimon says that if one person testifies, and he could testify, and he denies that he doesn't know it, even though it's one witness, he's chayiv for shvuas eidus. So lema b'hakim ifli. The Marsavar eid echad, that one witness who comes could only make you swear. Ki asa l'shvua dekasa. And for making you swear, there's no carbon. Marsavar and Rebbe Eliezer, the Gemara thinks at this point, that Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Shimon, argues on all of what it says in Shas, that Ein Dover Shiba Mammon Pachas Mishnayim, there's no chi of money with less than 2. He holds there's a chi of money even with 1. Says the Gemara, that can't be. But Tizbara, now here we're going to quote a Brisa. I'm not even going to explain it. It's quite remarkable that we're learning about Saita, which is this week's Parsha. Parsha's Nasa. It's quite remarkable. The Tizbara Amar Abai Akol Moedim Be'ed Saita. Everybody agrees with the one witness by Saita that you're chayiv. V'Akol Moedim Be'ed Saita that you're potter. Or Machloikis Be'ed Saita. There's an argument by a witness of Saita. Hakol Moedim Be'ed Echad. Everybody's moed in a case of one witness. V'Akol Moedim Be'ed in the case of a witness shekenegdoi choshid al hashvua, that the one opposite him is suspected of not swearing honestly. Now, we're going to learn what each of these cases are, but the bottom line is that everybody agrees that one witness cannot be Moitzi Mammon. One witness could only be chayiv a shvua. If one witness could only be chayiv a shvua, what's the reason of Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon, that one witness could be chayiv a carbon shvua sa'edus, but he can't be mitzi mammon, he could only make the person swear. Ela dekuli alma eit echad, if it's only Menachem, the only thing that he could make is that Shelley should swear. Ki asi l'shvua kasi, but Shelley might not want to swear, and then he's going to have to pay. So if you hold davar agayram l'mamon k'mamon dami, something that can generate money is like money, then Menachem making Shelley swear is a davar agayram l'mamon, because he won't want to swear and he'll pay. Ma'asaver, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon says that if Menachem swears that he doesn't know the Eidos, it's a davar agayim l'mamon, because making Shelley swear might generate money. So that's k'mamon dami. Or ma'asaver, the only time you're chay is if it could be mitzi mammon. It could take money away from Shelley. One witness cannot take money, and he holds davar agayim l'mamon, something that could cause money, lav k'mamon dami. Now I told you, I promised you, we ran through a brisa about Eidei Saita. Now the Gemara is going to explain each step of this brisa. Gufa. And remember, we're after Shavuos. We're learning to be Mekayim the mitzvah d'oraisa of Dibar Tabam. La'asais nachas ruach liyotzreinu. We remember the words of the Gain in the Shneis Eliyahu, where the Gain says that every word of Torah is a mitzvah saseh, and each mitzvah saseh is shakal keneged kol ha-Torah kula. So every word is like 613 mitzvahs. So we're payday tonight. Payday. While a pizza was a lot of calories, this is a lot of nitzchias. It's a good move to come and join us tonight. A really good move. Five lines from the bottom of Lamed Beis Amud Aleph. Gufa. Amar Abaya. Abaya tells us, Hakol moedim be'eit saita. Everybody is in agreement about the witness of a saita. V'akol moedim be'edei saita. And everybody is in agreement of the witness of saita. Machloikis be'edei saita. There's an argument by an eit saita. And Akol moedim be'ed echad. Everybody agrees with one witness. V'akol moedim be'ed shekenegdoi choshid al hashvua. And everybody agrees with a witness where the opposing person is suspected on a shvua. So now what's going on over here? So as you know, what's a saita? A saita is a situation where Chatzkel sees his wife hanging around with Shmuel. So with two witnesses, he warns her not to closet in with Shmuel. If then two witnesses come and say that she was closeted in with Shmuel, in room 208 of the Holiday Inn, so then she's forbidden to her husband. Now she could then walk away, lose her ksuva, and finished. Or she could drink the mei saita, the bitter waters. If she committed adultery in room 208, she'll explode. If not, she'll be declared innocent, become more beautiful, have beautiful children. So, now what's the case of Akol Moedim Be'eit Saita Shechayiv? Here it's talking about where the husband warned her not to be alone with Shmuel, and Menachem comes as one witness and says that he saw her commit adultery with Shmuel. Now in that case, that's called an Eid Tumah. He's one witness that she became Tumah, that she did the Aveira. So normally we don't believe one witness. Here it's an exception, because since it was backed up by the warning, because Chatzkel warned her not to be alone with Shmuel, so there's what's called Raglayim Ledavar. It's circumstantial. So we believe the one witness not to execute her for adultery, but that she's forbidden and she loses her ksuva. So here, this is a question of being Maitzi Mammon. So Akol Maidim Eit Saita Shechayiv, if he swears he doesn't know testimony, he would be Chayiv a carbon. Be'eit Tumah, why? The Rachmana Hemne, because the Torah would believe him if he gave testimony to the adultery. The Chsiva Eid Ein Ba, there's no witness. Kol Sheyesh, but there's no witness at all. V'Akol Maidim Be'edei Saita Shepater, that's if Eidei Kinui. That's if Yitzhak Menachem were just witnesses about the warning. Now, if they swear that they didn't know about the warning, they're not swearing about money. They're not swearing even something that generates money. Because after the warning, there also has to be witnesses to seclusion. And then witnesses to seclusion, then if she says, I'm out of here, then there would be money. But the witnesses of the warning, that's too far removed. They have a goyim de goyim. That's a cause of a cause. That's too far away. Then the Gemara says, the third case, umachloikis be'edei saita be'edei stira. Oh, here is where Menachem and Yitzi are witnesses that she was alone in the Holiday Inn. Now, the fact that she's alone in the Holiday Inn is not necessarily Maitzi Mammon, because she could drink the waters of Saita. It could generate money, because she could say, look, I'm out of here, I'm not drinking, I don't want anybody tearing my blouse, and I'll pay. I'll lose my ksuva. I'll forfeit my ksuva. So it could generate money. So that's a machloikas. Something that generates money is like money, and then there would be a chiyuv for Shavuos Daf, and then pater. Hakol moedim b'k'shenegdoi choshev al hashvua. What does this mean? And hakol moedim be'ed echad d'Rabba. So the Gemara is going to explain these two last cases. Everybody agrees where the opposing one is suspected of a shvua. Now this is a case where Barry says that Shelley owes him money. So the Gemara says the choshid man, who is suspected over here? Ilema the choshid loiva. Shelley can't make a shvua because Shelley gambles on horses. So since he's a gambler, he can't make a shvua. So Barry says, well, if Menachem would have, the din is that normally nishbar vein mishalm. Normally you swear and you don't pay. So here where Barry says Shelley owes him $1,000, and there's one witness, normally Shelley would swear and not pay. But here Shelley can't swear because he's a gambler. So then Barry would swear and collect. So Barry claims that if Menachem doesn't testify, he's losing money. So says the Gemara, is that the case? Says the Gemara, Ilema de Chashid Loiva, it's where Shelley, the one who borrowed the money, is suspected because he's a gambler. The Amalei Malva, so Barry says, he also asadisly, Menachem, if you would have testified on my behalf, have a mishtavana, I would swear, v'shakilna, and I would collect the money. V'lei malei, so Menachem could say, who says you would swear? Many people are afraid to swear on the Torah in court. Mi yema de mishtavis. It's not for sure that you would swear just to get the money. Ella, no, here's the case. And we should have known this from the beginning. It's where Shelley and Barry are gamblers. They're both crooks. So where they're both crooks, so what do we do? If Menachem would testify, so then Shelley has to swear. He can't swear because he's a gambler. So then we would tell Barry to swear. But Barry can't swear because he's a gambler. Oh, then we return the shvuah to the one who normally would make it. Normally, Shelley would swear and not pay. And since he can't make it, he has to pay. So that's why Menachem is chayiv, because otherwise he could have got Shelley to pay. They're both crooks. Then first we ask Shelley to swear. He's a gambler. Then we say Barry swear. He can't do it. So then the shvuah goes back to the one who would normally swear, Shelley, and because he can't swear, Mishalem. Now the final case is Akol Moedim Be'ed Echad de Rabbi Abba. This is a famous case in Mesechus Bava Basra called Nascha de Rabbi Abba, the bullion of Rabbi Abba. It's a very interesting case. Here, Dahu Gavra the Chotaf Nascha Mechavre. Shelley is holding a 100-ounce bar of silver. Shelley likes to invest in silver, and he buys 100-ounce bars. So if you see Shelley is sitting a little high, he's sitting on 100-ounce bars of silver, right? So, Dahu Gavra, when it says Dahu Gavra, that's Barry. Dahu Gavra, the Chotaf Nascha Mechavre. He snatched out of Shelley's hand a 100-ounce bar of silver. So also the Kami de Rabami. So Shelley comes before Rabami, chutzpah of this guy. Have Yosef Rab Abba Kameh. Rab Abba was sitting before Rabami. So Ozel Aisei Chad Sada, Shelley brings one witness, Menachem, the Michtav Chatfamine, that Barry snatched it from him. Okay, this is one witness. Amalei, so in court, before Rabami and Rababa, Shelley brings a witness that Barry snatched it. But Barry, he's up to the task. He says, in Chatvi, yeah, I snatched it, but V'dini Chatvi, it was mine. I snatched it, but I took it, it was mine. So Amar Rabami says, this is not so pashut. Heichili daine l'haydina. Lishlam, should they make Barry pay? But you could only be Maitzi Mammon with two witnesses. There's no two witnesses. Leket Trei Sadeh. Lifterei, should they exempt him? They can't exempt him because there's one witness. Hoikachad Sada, Nemichtav Chotav. And since there's one witness, he would have to swear. Lishtave, should he swear? What's he going to swear? He has to swear that the Menachem says he snatched it. He has to swear that he didn't snatch it. But he admitted that he did snatch it. Kevin Dahmer in Chatvi, I snatched it. V'didi Chatvi, I snatched what was mine. Oh, so then he's admitting that he was a Gazlan, that he stole it from Shelley. Havale Kegazlan.
He's a Gazlan if he grabs it back as his own thing.
How do we know it's his own thing?
Theory, that's what he's saying.
I know, but Shelley is the Marikama. So he's a Gazlan. So the Gemara says, he would have to swear. And since he can't swear, he pays. Amalei Rababa, Havalei Mechuyev Shvuya, Ve'enu Yachali Shava. Barry can't swear. Ve'kala Mechuyev Shvuya, Ve'enu Yachali Shava Mishalim. So in this case, if Menachem wouldn't give testimony that Barry snatched it, he would be giving testimony which short circuits Shelley getting money, and therefore he would be chayiv. Amar Papa. I want you to know, Rabbi say, that it's a siyata d'shmai, because this Gemara is very hard, and it's flowing pretty easily. And it's flowing pretty easily because we have siyata d'shmaya that we came to learn on a very difficult night. Barish told me, Barish would have been here, but he has an early levaya in Boston tomorrow, so he has to travel very early in the morning to Boston. Amar Papa, Hakol Moedim Be'ed Misa Shu Chayiv. Everybody admits that a witness that knows that a woman's husband died is Chayiv. V'Hakol Moedim Be'ed Misa Shu Potter. And everybody agrees in another circumstance with an Eid Misa that is Potter. Now remember that the witness that testifies, if the husband died, the woman is allowed to collect her ksuva. So it has monetary ramifications. So Hakol Moedim Be'ed Misa Shu Potter. Here is the Amala L'Dida. Menachem told her that her husband died. V'loy Amalu L'Bezdin, but he didn't give testimony in Bezdin. And in Bezdin, he denied knowing it. But that doesn't make a difference. Because since he told her outside of Bezdin, it's enough. Because in order that she should be able to remarry, they believe even Eid Mepi Eid. So once he told her, she could come now into court and say, he told me, and she could remarry and she could collect a ksuva. Dinana Yisha Shamra Meis Baili Tinasi. A woman that says, my husband died, she could marry. Meis Baili Tisyabim. My husband died, I could commit yibum in case there's a brother and there were no children. Hakol Moedim Be'ed Misa Shu Chayiv. Everybody agrees also by a witness who knows that a woman's husband died and doesn't give testimony that he's chayiv. We didn't tell her and he didn't tell Bezdin. So if he didn't tell her and he didn't tell Bezdin, he's causing that she now cannot collect her ksuva, and therefore it's a davashim mammon, and therefore there would be a carbon. Now the question is, her collecting a ksuva is only has a lien on karka, on real estate. And normally we say there's no shvur by real estate. Einish ban ala karkois. Says the Gemara in incredulity, Shmami no mashbiye ede karka chayiv, that even if it comes to real estate it would be chayiv. Says the Gemara, no, Dilma de tfisa metalta. It's talking about where she had some of her husband's movables, and therefore it's a shmur on those movables. She wants to keep his $100,000 watch. Now, continues the Mishnah, Kafar echad v'hoide echad. If, let's say, there were two witnesses, Yitzi denies and Menachem admits, so Yitzi is chayiv. So it says the Gemara, Hashta b'zeh chazeh d'travayu kafrei, where they're both denying it. Amrit harishan chayiv, we say that Yitzi is chayiv. V'asheni pater kafar echad v'hoide echad mibai. Of course, in that case where Yitzi denies and Menachem admits that only Yitzi is going to be chayiv. Says the Gemara, leitzricha the chiddush is kegain shekafru shneihen, where both Yitzi and Menachem denied it at the same time. The chazer echad mehen v'hoide, and then Menachem b'toich kedei dibur says, no, I admit about the testimony. He could change his testimony in toich kedei dibur, and therefore he's potter. So the Gemara says, Bishleim Rav Chisda demuke lahu Rav Yosef Glili. Rav Chisda says when they do it both at the same time, it's literally both at the same time, because he holds like Rav Yosef Glili that it's Efshel Tzamtzem. So Reisha comes to tell us Efshel Tzamtzem, you could have them both at the same time. The Sefer it's Lashmin and the Teikadei Dibber Kedibber Dami. El Rabbi Yochanan, Reisha Toikadei Dibber, and Sefer Toikadei Dibber, Tarte Lamali. Why do you have to say Toikadei Dibber twice? The Toikadei Dibber is Kedibber. Says Gemara to say Mahani Mili Kfira Kfira. To say that the second Kfira should be together with the first Kfira, there we say Toikadei Dibber Kedibber Dam. Avil Kfira Vahidah, but in order to change a testimony, Amalai, I might think that you don't say Toikadei Dibber Kedibber, Kamash Malan that you do. Now, in the case where there's two groups, Yitzhak Menachem and also AB and Dr. Black, there's two groups of testimony. If the first group denied it, we said they're both chayiv. So Bishlai Mishniya Tischayev, if after Yitzi and Menachem deny, and then AB and Dr. Black deny, so we understand why AB and Dr. Black are Chayev, the Kafla Rishayna, because Menachem and Yitz are out of the picture already. So without them, we wouldn't be able to collect money. Ela Rishayna Mai, but if Menachem and Yitz deny it, why should they be chayiv? There's still witnesses. There's still AB and Dr. Black. Hakai Mishniya. Now we're going to change AB and Dr. Black to Chatzkel and Shmuel. Here it's talking about where Chatzkel and Shmuel are relatives through their wives. So since Chatzkel and Shmuel are relatives through their wives, they're not eligible to be Edom because they're relatives. And therefore, Menachem and Yitz, it's only up to them. Says the Gemara, Ravina Hachabamayeskina Kagan Shaisa Shnia B'Shas Kfiras Rishayna, where the second group, Chatzkel and Shmuel, at the time where Yitzi and Menachem denied it, were Kroivim b'nei Sheisayim. They were relatives through their wives. Unei Sheisayim Geisesais, but their wives were in the hospital in the throes of death. The Amau the same, Arayv Geisim Lamisa, that the majority of Geisim would die. So therefore, they are considered, we go back to the majority, and they're considered to be good eligible witnesses because now they're not related because we go Basarai, and therefore Yitzi and Menachem shouldn't be chayiv because there are another two witnesses. Kamash Malan Hashtam Yolei Shachiv. Now the wives did not die, so they're relatives. So Menachem and Yitzi are the only witnesses that could be mitzi the moment. If they deny it, they're going to be chayiv. Okay, that's the completion of the first Amid of tonight. We have to thank ourselves that we learned on Thursday 2 blot, otherwise we would have had 3 blot tonight, which would have really been a challenge. We're just going to, and this stuff is easier than the last stuff, we're just going to change the channel now.